Howdy, folks. Quick story I want to tell you. Good buddy of mine, he's 61, 62 years old now. This was, good grief, 15 years ago, closer to it. His appendix had ruptured, and a good friend of his had picked him up, drove him to the hospital, and he had to be cleaned out, had to have his wound packed a couple times a day. The guy that had drove him to the hospital was a mutual friend. Older gentleman, World War II vet. He was in his, I think he died at 95, 96 years old. So he would have been in his very late 70s, early 80s at this point. And he was a fantastic, cool old guy. We actually got a little group together. We go out to Cracker Barrel every Friday night, go to the fish fry. Well, my buddy that had his appendix ruptured was off work, single dad, off work for almost 3 months, I think. I think it was almost 3 months. And this old World War II vet was bringing him groceries every Wednesday so he could keep cooking and packing his son's lunch to school and everything. And then bills started coming due, and my buddy was scraping by every year. He worked a seasonal job as a heavy equipment operator, and so he'd put as much money back in the summer as he could, but in the winter he'd have to keep digging into his savings because work wasn't as steady. Well, fast forward, you miss 3 months of unsteady work, you're broke. And so he's like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. I can't do nothing. He's like, hang on just a second. So this old man hands him $1,000. He said, I don't want to take that money from you because I cannot pay you back. He said, I did not ask you to pay me back. He's like, I know that, but I feel obligated to pay you back. He's like, you're not listening to me. I want you to have this money, but at some point in the future, you're gonna be in a better situation. You're gonna find somebody who's in the same spot you're in right now, and I want you to give this money to them. Very nice of the old man. Well, unfortunately, Mr. World War II vet's no longer with us. I went to his funeral. He was buried with full military honors. POW in World War II, served in Korea, and he was in the States, but he served during Vietnam. Well, my buddy that had the appendicitis, he has found himself in a much better situation. He's still a heavy equipment operator, but he's working year-round now. Very good job, very steady job, very good paying job. Well, I get a phone call from him the other day, and we're talking on the phone while I'm just driving back home from work. And he said, man, I got to tell you about something. Did I ever tell you about that time that Mr. Ed, World War II vet, gave me that money? I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, I wouldn't take it, and he actually threw it in my pants. He put it in my pants pocket and left. I'm like, that sounds like Mr. Ed. And he's like, I told you what he wanted me to do with that money. Give it to someone that's in the same spot you're in when you're doing better. Yeah. He's like, well, I found him today. Retired woman taking care of her husband that's got some health problems, and they had overpaid on her Social Security a little bit, and instead of spreading the misery out over the course of several checks, they hit her all at once. She lost a couple Social Security checks. Well, when you're on fixed income, not a lot of money in the bank, that's a big deal. So she was really hurting for money, couldn't afford her rent and whatnot. So my buddy paid that forward. And the thing that I just thought about hearing that story is that's kind of cool how someone who gave a helping hand to a friend in need is helping people after he's dead and gone, just because of the way he wanted taken care of. Mr. Ed probably didn't miss that money. He had retired 3 times. He retired as a master sergeant. He went into work for civil service for 20 years up on Fort Knox. Got a part-time janitor job at one of the local churches and then retired from that. He had probably done well enough for himself. But that $1,000 was the difference between dealing with repo men and eviction and staying home till he got back to work and having a truck to drive to work the next day. So, and my buddy, he's doing very well now. He's raised all of his children. He's got a non-seasonal job. So it's just kind of neat how someone who has been dead for a little over a year now is still helping people. Just kind of neat. And I think it'd be kind of neat if everybody tried to live that way. You know, have a couple of them little favors where you don't need, hey, just help somebody else out some other time. You never know when your time is. You never know how you might help someone after you're gone. Something that just kind of struck me as interesting. Y'all take care. Thanks for tuning in. Catch y'all next time.